I am Conny Leporatti. I'm a psychologist and psychotherapist. I'm pleased to share the exciting news that the Book of Art Images and the manual accompanying it have finally been published. This guide is designed to support professionals who wish to use art images in clinical practice, particularly in systemic and relational contexts. The publication represents the culmination of many years of personal and professional exploration. This journey began not in a classroom or laboratory, but in a profoundly human and emotional space. Like many of the most powerful tools we discover in life, the idea of using art images in therapy came to me by chance. I've always believed that some of the most meaningful insights come when we're not actively searching for them, and this was one of those moments. Let me take a step back and give you a bit of context about how this all began. My passion for painting is something I carry with me every day, and it was passed down to me by someone very dear, my father. He was born in 1920 in Vinci, the birthplace of Leonardo da Vinci. As a child, I would walk with him through the Tuscan hills, and we explored the world of art together. He introduced me to Leonardo's life and work and the deeper significance of art in understanding the human experience. We visited the house where Leonardo was born, spent hours in the Leonardini Museum, and pored over his scientific notebooks and anatomical sketches. But what stayed with me the most were Leonardo's paintings, the way they captured emotion, relationship, and meaning. Throughout my life, my father and I continued to attend art exhibitions together. He was more than a guide, he was a companion in discovery. Art images became a kind of sustenance, a resource I turned to for inspiration, grounding, and emotional renewal. Art did that for me, just as music, poetry, or nature can center and sustain someone else. Even today, I keep several art catalogs in my office. Between therapy sessions, I often find myself flipping through them, not just for aesthetic pleasure, but as a way of rebalancing myself, of re-energizing with something timeless and universal. And it was in my therapy office nearly 3 decades ago, the idea of integrating art into my work was born. One rainy November afternoon, I was in a session with a client. The session had reached a standstill. We weren't moving forward, and I could sense the energy stagnating. My eyes drifted to the shelf where one of my art catalogs sat. In that moment, a question formed in my mind. If words can be therapeutic, why can't art images be? So I reached for the catalog and gently asked the client to choose any image that represented the relationship we were discussing. Her selection and the conversation that followed opened an entirely new space in our work. That moment marked the beginning of what would become a central aspect of my practice. From that point forward, I began experimenting with art images in sessions, tentatively at first, then with growing confidence. I could see their power almost immediately. Clients responded to the images in ways that went beyond words. They accessed emotions and associations they hadn't been able to articulate. The images helped bypass defenses, sparked memory and emotion, and fostered insight. And they did so in a way that was gentle but deeply profound. Still, I didn't yet understand why this was happening. I witnessed something meaningful, but lacked the scientific framework to explain it. Fortunately, the research caught up. Beginning in the 1990s and continuing into the early 2000s, studies began to confirm what I was observing in practice. First, it became clear that art images engage the nonverbal and unconscious parts of the brain. They bypass the rational mind and reach deeper emotional layers. This allows them to activate powerful responses that often surprise both the client and the therapist. We can look to the research on mirror neurons, particularly the groundbreaking work by a team at the University of Parma, including Rizzolatti, Gallese, and Sinigaglia. They gave us insight into how this process works. Their studies show how observing someone else's experience can activate neural pathways as if we were living it ourselves. When a person views an emotionally charged image, the brain responds as if they were participating in that moment. This mechanism fosters empathy, emotional connection, and a sense of shared experience. Additional frameworks, such as Fonagy's attachment theory and Daniel Stern's work on attunement and affective exchanges, also help explain why visual stimuli can be so effective in therapeutic settings. These theories underscore the importance of nonverbal cues and emotional resonance in building safe, responsive relationships. In this context, art images become a bridge, a direct way of entering the shared emotional space. Around this time, I began to systematize my approach. With the support and collaboration of Rodolfo De Bernart, I developed a structured tool, a collection of images categorized according to common themes that emerged in therapy. The original book included 200 images divided into 20 categories, each with 10 carefully selected pictures. These categories were based on the most frequently reoccurring topics in my sessions: childhood, home, the couple, the family, siblings, play, motherhood, fatherhood, grandparents, sexuality, male identity, female identity, gender identity, eating disorders, illness, life transitions, and death. Later, I expanded the collection. In the latest edition, published by In Riga Edizioni in Bologna, the book includes 260 images across 26 categories. I added 4 new categories specifically to address issues faced by couples undergoing fertility treatments or assisted reproduction. I also introduced 2 categories for working with trauma based on the growing demand from colleagues using this method in different clinical settings. So how are the images used in practice? In individual therapy, one approach is to ask the client to choose 3 images: one that represents a relationship as it was at the beginning, one that represents it now, and one that captures how they wish it could be. This progression helps clients reflect on patterns, unmet needs, and hopes for change. It can also be applied to their relationship with themselves or to their emotions around significant life events. In couples therapy, we use what I call cross-reading. Each partner selects an image that represents their current experience of the relationship. But rather than explaining their own choice of image, they're first asked to interpret the image their partner chose. This shift in perspective opens new pathways for empathy, helping each person step outside their usual narrative and into their partner's emotional world. The therapist then helps uncover the implicit meanings behind the images, meanings that may not be consciously acknowledged, but that influence how the couple relates to one another. The same image can be applied in family therapy. A family member selects an image, and the others are invited to interpret it. Or each person can choose a picture related to a shared theme, such as parenting, conflict, or togetherness, and reflect on it together. These exercises reveal unspoken dynamics and promote honest, often healing conversations. Art images also play a role in mediation. When working with couples in crisis or considering separation, we may ask them to choose images representing the beginning of their relationship, then the point of rupture, and finally where they find themselves now. This allows for a narrative arc to emerge and can sometimes reawaken the memory of connection that once existed. One of the most essential qualities of this method is that it's universal. They can be used with children, adolescents, adults, couples, families, and even in organizational or educational settings. Their power lies in their ability to speak to something deeply human in all of us. The Book of Art Images contains 260 images across 26 categories. Each category has a technical sheet showing all 10 images side by side, allowing clients to explore them visually and intuitively. The accompanying manual explains the methodology I've outlined here, including charts for recording selections, questions to support reflection, and summaries of the psychological and biological principles that support the work. I hope this introduction has sparked your curiosity, and I encourage you to try it in your own practice. Thank you.